Good morning, guys. Welcome back to Alright, What's Next? Today, we're going to take a little drive. Alright. Where's that goddamn key? Oh. What we're actually going to do is we're going to address that, if you can see that down there. Fuck, steering wheel's probably in the goddamn way. There, can you see that fucking check engine light down there? I'm going to show you how to deal with a fucking check engine light. What you got to do, get on Amazon and get yourself an OBD2 scan tool, onboard diagnostic scan tool. This was about 35 bucks. Now you can of course get ones that are way more expensive and will do a hell of a lot more, but this does what I need it to do. Now your onboard diagnostics now are all universal ports. They all look like that. Back in the 80s, before they standardized the shit, every engine manufacturer had its own diagnostic port. So mechanics would have to have, 50 different fucking cables in their toolbox. Your COM port is generally down in the frickin' footwell on the driver's side. Usually right down up in here. Now, you can't see it because my camera ain't pointing that low enough, but it's basically right above where a clutch pedal would be if you had a manual. This is not a manual. Once you plug it in, that screen comes up. Hit enter for menu. Let's see here. What we want. DTC lookup, diagnostic trouble codes. So it will give you your different trouble codes. P0001. Nope, that's not what we want. We want enter to confirm. Fuel volume regulator control circuit open. So we probably have a fuel regulator sensor going out on it. And here are our engine codes that you can look up on Google. All right, click on the code. Go down. Erase code. Are you sure you want? Yes. Erase done. Press any key to continue. Erase codes. Done. Okay. Now we'll shut the power off. Check engine light's gone. It's still got the maintenance freaking thing up there. We're not gonna freaking worry about that. It means we gotta service the engine. But the check engine light's out. That's how you fix a check engine light. You just get a $35 scan tool and you shut it off, and then you forget you got a goddamn problem until that light comes back on again. All right. So I showed you how to take care of a check engine light if you've got an OBD2 scan tool. Not everybody's got one. Not everybody wants to spend 35 bucks on one. So I've got a couple other techniques that can take care of a check engine light. The first one is probably the easiest, and it's the one that's more recommended on newer vehicles. Electrical tape. You just peel this shit off, stick it over top of that check engine light. You'll never know it's there. Don't use duct tape. Duct tape freaking, when you tear it, it's always got that little jagged like white line. Even if you use black duct tape, it's got a little jagged white line and it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. And it's not as opaque as electrical tape is. I found electrical tape is your best friend for freaking covering up a check engine light. That's for newer vehicles. Now, I had, what was it, a I'll say it was a 1987, 86 Nissan Sentra that I got. When I bought it, it had like 200,000 miles on it. It had a check engine light. That's how I resolved it. That car was just fucking like damn near bulletproof. When I got it, I don't know, I was late teens, early 20s in the military. Didn't care. Just drove that car into the ground. Periodically, it would overheat because it didn't have... I didn't have enough coolant in it. Repeatedly, it would overheat. So I always had freaking jugs of water in my car and a great big huge towel. It'd overheat, pop the hood, throw the towel down, pop the radiator cap off the towel so I don't fucking scald the shit out of myself. Put water in it, down the road you go. I actually had the block freeze, I think 3 different times because I wasn't running actual antifreeze. I just had mostly fucking water in there. I'd occasionally put antifreeze in there. I bet you I had I probably had a freeze point of antifreeze somewhere around the 10-degree range, which in Nebraska is not a good freaking plan to have. I'd have buddies come out periodically, throw a chain around it, drag it out somewhere. We'd put a freaking heater up underneath of it, thaw the block out, put some antifreeze in it, good to go. Ran that car for, oh shit, I think for a long period of time I was running it with almost no oil in it. And I loaned it to a buddy, and he was driving it, and he calls me. And he's like, I don't think I can drive this car anymore. It's got a bad knock. And it's like, it's always had a knock. It's just freaking... No, I mean a bad knock. So I drove out there and, oh yeah, it had a bad knock. It freaking snapped a connecting rod. So one of the pistons went through the side of the block. Now that would fucking pretty much end your day. You're not going to drive anymore. I drove it another 30 miles out to my uncle's house where I handed him the title and said, here, haul it off for scrap. But to drive it, I had to keep my foot on the gas, keep the RPMs up probably around 1,500 to keep that thing running. Because if you had let off the gas, it automatically died for some reason, having a piston rod sticking out through the side of the block. So I couldn't take my foot off the gas. It was a manual transmission, so I had to run the clutch with my left foot, gas constantly on the right foot, and stopping it with the emergency brake. So maybe putting electrical tape on there wasn't the best idea. I probably should have had it fixed. But I didn't take care of the car. Now the other one that I have for taking care of a check engine light, and this one is only for older vehicles, like probably pre-85, maybe even more than that. I think it was a 1983, 84 F-150. It was new enough that it had electronic fuel injection, but I think it was at the carbureted fuel injection before they actually had the fuel rails and everything like that. So it, wasn't completely carbureted. It said it was EFI, but a check engine light came on it. And the old F-150s, they had a kind of like a light bar across the dash that had all your different idiot lights in there. And the check engine light came on. Now inside of there, it is just a standard little frickin' incandescent light bulb. Phillips head screwdriver. You can take your dash apart. Actually, you probably can't. I don't know. I don't know how to take it apart. What you can do with a Phillips head screwdriver is you can stick it on that little window that shows the check engine light and then just smack it with your palm and it'll drive that screwdriver right through that little window and shatter that bulb. No more check engine light. Now, this is only for the older vehicles. You do this on a newer vehicle, you're going to jab that through a freaking circuit board and you're probably going to have a really bad day because the check engine light is going to be the least of your problems. Now, do I actually recommend you doing this? Yeah, fuck yeah. I do it all the time. I mean, I've had a check engine light on my old freaking 2011 Ford Fiesta for like 3 years now. Just clear it out every 2 weeks with the OBD2 scan tool. Most of these things are just because of some stupid freaking sensor that doesn't do a whole hell of a lot, but it's going to kick your check engine light on, force you into a mechanic to spend $400 or $500 to get a sensor replaced. It's up to you. You know, if you got a diesel, probably don't want to ignore it because the sensors on the diesels, because of the amount of pollution that they freaking create, those things will shut your truck down. So you probably don't want to ignore it if you're running a diesel, because it's got something to do with that freaking exhaust after treatment shit. If you ignore that, eventually it's going to start derating your engine. You're not going to have any power, and you're going to be on the side of the road, or you might be able to do 5 miles an hour to try and nurse your freaking truck in somewhere. You can't really ignore it on the diesel. But in my vehicles, yeah, generally, fuck, I don't give a shit. I'm going to, you know, put a piece of tape over to just clear them out. That's how you deal with a check engine light. Thanks for, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Don't forget, like, notifications, all that other bullshit. Bye.